just a little over a week from right now, the 20th season of FC Dallas and Major League Soccer will begin. And next week, I will retell the story of why there is some guy out there in the universe, assuming he's still alive, that owes me $1 million.
Cannot wait for you to get paid.
I'm never going to get paid. But
we can buy the
ticket.
fact
that I get to tell this story 20 years after the fact is pretty funny to me.
If you get paid, we'll buy the ticket and have soccer.
We should.
On, all day.
All right, so FC Dallas kicks off next Saturday night against San Jose at Toyota Stadium. It should be a fantastic time. I'm hoping that they have a sellout and it's full up. Tonight, the team plays in San Antonio, their final preseason game. I don't know yet if you're going to be able to watch it online. You probably could go find out from FC Dallas directly on their website if, in fact, a web stream is going to happen or not. They're playing against San Antonio. I'm going to tell you now, and Steve Hunt, the guy that writes for us at the soccer blog, soccerblog.dallasnews.com, wrote an article earlier this week kind of predicting the starting 11 for next Saturday. I think the starting 11 for tonight is probably going to end up being the starting 11 for next week. And what I think you'll find interesting in there is second-year player, well, technically third-year player, Ryan Hollingshead, I think is going to end up playing kind of that right wing position in a five-man midfield.
Is that what they got Barrios to play as well? Yeah.
So the other news about the team is that we have had very, very few signings, not a lot of news coming out of the club in terms of signing new players, while a lot of other teams have signed some really significantly important, expensive, big-name players. And Dallas signed somebody and turns out to be a guy who is impossibly obscure from an impossibly obscure soccer team from the Colombian First Division. I can't even pronounce the name of the team. Can you?
I don't know what the team is, but I can look it
up.
It's
Monica or something like that.
I'll look it up.
They're a team that's only existed since, I think, 2010, and they've been playing in the second division in Colombia up until last year. His name is Michael Barrios. I will forewarn you now, when you see him, don't be surprised to find out that he is tiny. He is maybe 5'4". He is liquid fast, got tons of skill, and he is here to play on the right-hand side.
Wow, I'm just looking at the team name now. That's
how do you pronounce that?
Uniautónoma. Uniautónoma.
I'll never.
That's a tough one, even for a native speaker.
Now, Barrios has been playing. He is game fit. They played the team that he was playing for, I believe, played River Plate not more than a week or so ago. Oscar Pereira, the FC Dallas coach, even said they had to ask the team to stop playing him. So he is in game condition. I'd be surprised if he starts the first game. Ryan Hollingshead, who is the draftee from 3 seasons ago, who skipped his first season to help his family build a church. Yes, he stopped playing soccer, came back, joined the team last season, has had a really, really solid preseason, and I think is probably likely the person that's going to play on the right.
Yeah. What is the strength of this team? Mauro Diaz, right?
Well, the strength of the team probably is goalkeeping. They got Dan Kennedy, who arguably is the most the keeper who had to play at Chivas with a terrible defense, yet continuously put out some really good performances. They picked him up. Now they got him in sights, and they've got a battle for that position.
Yeah, and that is really the position of strength, because if the starter goes down, they have a very capable backup, whoever ends up being the starter and the backup there. If Mauro Diaz goes down, I think the fortunes of this team turn on a dime.
Yep, and I would say that if you wanted to kind of point out the 3 things about FC Dallas this season, the first one is Mauro Diaz in the spine of the team. What is that going to look like? Mauro Diaz is the key component to this team's success in so many ways. He allows, if he's in the game, the team plays with a 5-man midfield. He kind of plays as an attacking midfielder. It changes how Fabian Castillo has to play as a winger versus a right midfielder. He plays further upfield versus
and what the 2
playing
holding
back,
midfielders have to do.
and then having to play 2 holding midfielders behind them. And that's really, for me, at this point, the biggest hole on the team. The biggest question is that third center midfielder. So they've got Victor Ulloa, who is the kid. Excuse me. How do you pronounce it? Ulloa. Thank you. I'm going to get it. I'm his biggest fan, and I can't pronounce his name. Ulloa. Victor is, a delight to watch and a fantastic story. Diaz in front of him, but now Michel, who is really not a center midfielder and got a red card in the last preseason game. I'm really worried about him playing that position, as deadly as his left foot is, and I think if the team needs one really great signing, it's that third holding midfielder. And Clavillo this week, in a Q&A with Steve Hunt in the blog, did mention that he knows they're looking for a more physical and faster type player to fill that spot.
And the key, and why Diaz is key, is because if Diaz is not there, it's forcing one of these two central midfielders that play behind him, these two holding midfielders, it forces them to be a little bit more creative, a little bit more offensive, and they're just not those kind of players. When Diaz is there, they don't have to worry about that.
That's the biggest problem right now, is they don't have a player to replace Mauro Diaz, and this is a problem that has plagued FC Dallas for several seasons, because prior to Diaz, it was David Ferreira playing that position, and they were both similar players in that they are attack-minded, creative players, that they didn't have anybody that could even kind of plug that spot if those players were out for a game or an extended time, forcing both those teams to either struggle to try to play that formation with the wrong pieces in the wrong place, or completely change the formation, which is what Pereira successfully did last year in shifting the team into kind of a highly counterattacking, spread the ball wide and cross it in 4-4-2 formation.
Yeah, where Akindelli was playing up top too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I love watching Diaz play, and I his ceiling, I think, is even higher than what we saw from Ferreira, because when Ferreira was here, he was already a made player and really towards the apex of his career, where Diaz still has improvement in his game left, I think. And we're just, every time I see him play, the vision that he has and the peripheral vision and the way he spots teammates is incredible.
He is absolutely worth the price of admission if you haven't seen Mauro Diaz play. I will also point out that he also creates a problem for the team, is that I don't think he necessarily has the teammates that are at the same wavelength as him all the time. Fabian Castillo is fun to watch in his own right, but his biggest weakness in my mind is the work that he does off the ball. Mm-hmm. The runs that he doesn't make, or the runs that he does make that's not correct. It's not uncommon to see Mauro Diaz get a ball, look up, and want to play something, and Castillo or whoever's playing on the other side isn't in the right spot, so he has to pull back and kind of reset and do something different. The other question when I talk about the spine of the team that I'm worried about is trying to figure out a way to get Blas Perez to stay up top and stop soaking so far back into midfield.
Well, again, another problem that you have when Diaz is not there. I think Blas is less apt to have to come back for the ball if Diaz is in the midfield and kind of running the show.
And that would be great to see, because Blas spends too many games way too far back.
Because he's not getting the ball.
Because he's not getting the ball, so he gets hungry and he tries to come help out the team.
We do have to talk about the defense, though, and it's Keel back. What?
So I think that's a really major question. They only have 4 center backs on this team. Stephen Keel is still injured from an injury that started back in August of last year. He had surgery in late November. He hasn't been training fully with the team, and he's a major question. That leaves Zach Lloyd and Hedges as center backs, which is a great pairing, but neither one of them necessarily have a, fantastic record of staying healthy. And if one or both those guys go down, that creates a problem there. And then additionally, now we've got the right back issue, which is Javon Watson has not re-signed, and they have Atiba Harris, who they picked up in the re-entry draft, who has not ever played right back, or at least not consistently. They are now going to try to plug in at right back.
Yeah, is he the starter right now today?
I think he is. I think that they like what he's done so far. I would, unless he really plays poorly tonight, then maybe they push Zach Lloyd back out to the right and they put Walker Zimmerman in as the other center mid. And frankly, I would prefer that lineup. I think Walker really needs to step up and show that he is capable of playing and starting in this league. This is his 3rd or 2nd season, I can't remember. He really needs to step up and play. I'm just not super comfortable with Atiba Harris at right back.
Yeah, especially because he doesn't have experience playing that position. I think what Pareja likes is his ability to get up and use him as a Brazilian right back. We have offensive capabilities. So for this team and I don't know, are we going to predict what happens to them this season next week? Maybe
we'll do predictions next week.
Okay, all right.
And then the other thing about this season is the big question. We talked about it with Diaz across the board. Can this team finally figure out and stay healthy for once? Because they just have struggled with injuries, hamstrings, non-contact kind of muscle injuries a lot. Have really plagued this team for quite some time. I don't know if that's a function of the fact that they have to train so much in the summer of Dallas. They have some new training staff, and it'll be interesting to watch that story go on through the rest of the year and see if they struggle with that. Remember, the last 2 seasons, Dallas rocketed out of the blocks to first place and then just flamed out famously in the midseason. Now, last season, they recovered out of the nosedive and made the playoffs. The previous season, they did not. But it would be great to see them get out of the blocks strongly again. So
yeah, and dealing with the Texas summer and training in this Texas summer, having a young team, I think, is key. And this is why Oscar Pareja, as the coach for this team, I think is really going to be beneficial because he's not afraid to use the young players. He develops them well, and I think it's really going to help FC Dallas long term with that situation, with having to play in this heat, having a younger squad than the rest of the league.
So, number 1 through number 17 of the biggest things to worry about for FC Dallas this year is the health of Mauro Diaz.
Yeah,
Can he make it through an entire
Mm-hmm.
season? He's absolutely the key to this team, no question about it. Update, I am hearing rumors that the news on the TV deal that everybody, the one they have now, everybody really doesn't like. I hear that news of a new TV deal is coming soon, so stay by the Twitter for that.
Provided they do start the season, of course.
Provided they actually get to start the season. So we'll keep you apprised of that. You can follow us at the Kickaround. And again, kudos to Dallas Beer Guardians. I'll tweet here in a second the video they posted this week apologizing, trying to make amends with Dan Kennedy for some of the awful things they said to him in his previous visitations here in Dallas when he was playing for Chivas. And I'll share that with you on the Twitter.
Real quick from FC Dallas, combination of 1 a.m. arrival and cold rain in San Antonio mean mostly a reserve lineup for FC Dallas tonight, so they're not going to play the
he's not going to start. Yeah. Interesting. Fascinating stuff. All right, when we come back, we got to get you updated on what's going on with the collective bargaining agreement mess next on the Kickaround.